The Los Angeles Lakers have been the most storied franchise in NBA history, having been to 31 NBA Finals and winning 16 of them. They've had some of the best players in NBA history, including Kobe, Shaq, Magic, West, and Kareem. They've made the playoffs in 30 of the last 32 seasons and have only missed the playoffs 5 times in 60 years. These numbers sound a little bit off, don't they? This is the Lakers franchise history following the 2010 season. Fast forward to 2024, and the Lakers have missed the playoffs more times over the last decade than they had in the previous 60 years prior. But why have the Lakers lacked their usual dominance over the last decade or so? Well, it really all comes down to Jeanie Buss and the Buss family. You see, Jeanie Buss took over the Lakers in 2013 after her father, Dr. Jeanie Buss, had passed away. Jeanie oversaw the business affairs, while her brother Jim would handle the basketball side of things. It became clear that Jeanie was to fill the shoes of her father Jerry, who had owned the Lakers for over 30 years. At the time, the Lakers were still contending for a title. Their core consisted of Kobe, Dwight, Gasol, Metta World Peace, and Steve Nash. The team had talent, and this core was feared amongst the league, but injuries and chemistry issues robbed the Lakers at a chance of a title. After this season, the Lakers would enter the worst stretch in their franchise's history. The Lakers were going to miss the playoffs for the next 6 years following the 2013 season, with some extremely questionable decisions causing their continued failure. The Lakers have only missed the playoffs 12 times in franchise history, with 7 of those under Jeanie Buss, and 6 of those 7 being between the 2014 and 2019 seasons. During this 6-year period, the Lakers failed to acquire pieces through trades and free agency that would give them a chance at winning. Despite drafting talent such as Randall, Ingram, Lonzo, D'Lo, and Zubac, the questionable decisions by the front office, led by Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak, plummeted the success of the Lakers. Following the 2014 season, they failed to acquire big-name talent at the time, such as Carmelo Anthony and Isaiah Thomas. They even let Paul Gasol go, leaving a 36-year-old Kobe with role players such as Nick Young and Jordan Hill as his best options. The Lakers would then go on to have a terrible season, winning just 21 games in the 2015 season. The Lakers front office was completely dysfunctional, and it will only get drastically worse. In the 2015 offseason, the Lakers would draft D'Lo, but once again neglected signing any big-name talent and again decided to pursue role players such as Lou Williams and Hibbert. At this point, Kobe was 37 and on the verge of retirement, and the Lakers clearly did not have the pieces to come remotely close to contending for a championship. The 2016 season would be the worst in franchise history, as they would win just 17 games with the 37-year-old Kobe leading the team in scoring. The Lakers continued to pose as an embarrassment to their franchise's legacy, and Jeanie Buss still had her brother and Mitch making the basketball decisions. At no point was the lack of competence from this front office more apparent than after the 2016 season. After Kobe retired, the Lakers desperately needed big-name talent if they had any chance of restoring their franchise to glory. In a Hail Mary attempt to do so, they decided to sign Timofey Mozgov and Luol Deng to a combined $136 million, with both players being signed for 4 years. This, in my opinion, are some of the worst signings in NBA history. Not only did these players have little to no impact, but both only played for 1 season, and the Lakers ended up having to pay Deng all the way through the 2022 season. Even though they did also re-sign Jordan Clarkson, the Mozgov and Deng moves are some of the most questionable in the franchise's history, and it was these decisions that finally led Jeanie Buss to fire her brother Jim and GM Mitch during the 2017 season, a move she claimed to make to prevent them from further sabotaging the success of the Lakers. She would bring in Magic Johnson to replace her brother, and eventually bring in a guy by the name of Rob Pelinka as GM. Rob Pelinka is a name you need to remember, as his signing to this day has frustrated many Lakers fans. Jeanie Buss has never been known for her expertise regarding basketball affairs, but these signings only further question her drive to succeed as an organization. The Lakers had clearly not been succeeding lately by running their organization through legacy, and should have considered hiring outside expertise. She should have studied the makeup of organizations such as the Spurs, Thunder, and Celtics, who had all been well run and have avoided long periods of despair. Instead, she continued the cycle, hiring Lakers legend Magic Johnson and Kobe's former agent and longtime Lakers associate, Rob Pelinka. To make matters worse, Buss never considered Jerry West for a front office role, who was also a longtime Lakers legend who actually had experience and valuable experience at that. West is one of the best executives in all of basketball, building the Showtime Lakers, the early 2000 Grizzlies, and the Dynasty Warriors. West said he expressed interest in a front office Lakers role, but again, the Lakers never reached out. This is most likely tied to the fact that Jeanie was formerly in a relationship with the Lakers legend Phil Jackson, a relationship that West was critical of. It's likely Jeanie not hiring West was personal, as she has essentially excommunicated West from the organization. Instead, she would hire Magic and Rob, who despite their deep connections to the Lakers organization, had no experience at their respective positions. Johnson and Pelinka would get off to a decent start, drafting Lonzo and trading Mozgov and D'Lo for Kuzma and Brook Lopez. They would also sign key players such as KCP and Caruso, and most notably after the 2018 season, LeBron James. The signing of LeBron was absolutely monumental for the Lakers, who had failed to sign a big-name player since the early 2010s. It's not unreasonable to assume that the Lakers would be in a similar position today as they were during the mid-2010s had they not signed LeBron. With that being said, we have to give credit where credit is due, and Magic and Pelinka signing LeBron was a huge win for the Lakers. But as you'll notice with the Lakers under Jeanie and Rob, a lot of their good decisions are counteracted with some extremely questionable ones. For one, the Lakers would let Brook Lopez and Julius Randle go, who have both become key pieces for championship contending teams. And after signing LeBron, the Lakers proceeded to sign Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and Michael Beasley to surround him. Considering LeBron has historically worked well with shooters around him, these older, more physical role players did not seem like a strategy for success. And it wasn't, as with LeBron missing almost 30 games, the Lakers supporting cast led by Ingram and Kuzma missed the playoffs for the 6th straight year. In April of that season, Magic Johnson abruptly resigned as president of basketball operations, announcing his decision to the media at the surprise of the Lakers organization, even Jeanie Buss. Magic said his reason for leaving was primarily due to betrayal from GM Rob Pelinka, who he said was bad-mouthing him and questioning his work ethic. Johnson also felt that Jeanie wasn't really in control and had too many people in her ear, and felt he was answering to President of Business Operations Tim Harris instead of Jeanie. Overall, he didn't feel he had the power he should have, as Jeanie and the Lakers refused to fire head coach Luke Walton at the request of Magic. And that was the end of the Magic and Pelinka duo, which would eventually put Pelinka as the vice president of basketball operations. With Magic gone and Pelinka running the show, the 2019 offseason will be one of the biggest in franchise history. They would part ways with coach Luke Walton, and after failing to hire Tyronn Lue to replace him, would settle with Frank Vogel, a defensive-minded coach from the Magic. In June of 2019, the Lakers would trade Lonzo, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and 3 first-round picks for Anthony Davis. This was another monumental move that was exactly what the Lakers needed to contend for a championship. AD was already one of the best players in the league and was only 26 years old, who was a great big-name player to pair with LeBron. They would also sign Danny Green and Dwight Howard while re-signing KCP, McGee, Caruso, and Rondo. Again, giving credit where credit is due, Pelinka had without question assembled a championship-caliber team, and Jeanie Buss's decision to hire him as GM was looking promising. The 2020 Lakers was the best Lakers team in a decade, finishing first in the Western Conference while winning 52 games. They had one of the best defenses in the league, led by key defensive pieces such as Caruso, KCP, and Danny Green. They had solid 3-and-D players that played their roles and played to the strengths of LeBron and AD. The Lakers would go on to win the chip in 2020, one that was achieved through challenge and adversity because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Not only that, but the Lakers would essentially keep their core championship roster. They did, however, trade Danny Green in a first for Dennis Schroeder, who would eventually leave after the season. They would also sign other role players, including Montrezl Harrell, Markieff Morris, and Marc Gasol. The Lakers seem to have an excellent shot at winning back-to-back championships. But remember earlier when I said how every great move by the Lakers is counteracted by not-so-good ones? Well, just as fast as Pelinka built this championship team was as fast as he tore it down. In 2021, the Lakers looked like they were on their way back to the finals. They only finished 7th in the West, but this was primarily due to LeBron and AD being injured for the majority of the season. During the playoffs, the Lakers were clearly potent and were seemingly coasting their way past the 2-seed Suns, until AD got injured in Game 4. After AD's injury, the Suns would win 3 straight games and win the series 4-2. and the Lakers front office, led by Rob Pelinka, would begin making detrimental moves. At no point was Pelinka's lack of experience more evident than after the 2021 season, where he dismantled a roster that was completely capable of winning a championship, as proven in 2020. Many of these decisions puzzle Lakers fans to this day, starting with letting Alex Caruso go. Caruso had been a key player during the Lakers championship run, and the Lakers refused to offer him what the Bulls ended up giving him, which was a $37 million deal over 4 years. But the most puzzling move of all was when the Lakers decided to trade Kuzma, KCP, and Harrell for Westbrook and a handful of second-round picks. The Lakers essentially gave up on Caruso, KCP, and Kuzma, who are all key pieces who have won a championship and boast a top defense in the league. They did so for Russell Westbrook, who is a mediocre defender at best, who struggled shooting the ball and has been a ball-dominant player for most of his career. This is essentially the worst type of player you could pair with LeBron. To make it even worse, Westbrook was making over $40 million a year, leaving the Lakers with essentially no cap room on top of their lack of draft capital. They were forced to sign role players such as Carmelo, Bazemore, Monk, and Howard, who are just simply not championship contending pieces. This move, to this day, has destroyed the Lakers' chance of competing for a championship while simultaneously limiting the potential of their future. Pelinka allegedly was not fond of the idea to trade for Westbrook and instead wanted to trade for Buddy Hield, but he ultimately ended up going through with the trade for Westbrook, which was a huge mistake. Westbrook's first season with the Lakers was a disaster. The Lakers would have one of the worst defenses in the league, and Westbrook struggled to fit into Frank Vogel's system. Despite LeBron averaging 30 points a game, the Lakers ended up missing the playoffs entirely. The season was a major disappointment caused by a poorly constructed roster, and the flaws from the executives and ownership were becoming more apparent. After the season, they'd end up firing Frank Vogel and hiring Darvin Ham, another questionable hire for the Lakers, as Ham had no prior head coaching experience. With the Westbrook trade clearly being a disaster, they would end up trading him, Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones, and a first-round pick for D'Lo, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley. The Lakers, much like their horrific seasons in the 2010s, began making unintelligent decision after unintelligent decision, which has ultimately led them to back-to-back playoff exits in 2023 and 2024. They have lost a huge chunk of their draft capital, failed to acquire big-name players such as Kyrie and DeRozan, and have failed to surround LeBron and AD with the supporting cast they need to win a championship. The Lakers have had mediocre defense and shooting ever since the Westbrook trade, which is simply not going to win games. Many people tend to place the blame on players and coaches, but as LeBron and AD get older, Jeanie and Pelinka have failed to make reasonable, competent decisions that would turn the Lakers into championship contenders. Pelinka had built a championship team, but could not maintain it, and is largely at fault. If we look at the history of the Lakers, they've been able to sustain championship teams for long periods of time. This is something the Lakers have not shown an ability to do under Jeanie Buss. She has lacked the ambition to expand her knowledge on basketball affairs and make adequate front office decisions that would improve the organization. The Lakers are currently in an extremely interesting situation. With LeBron set to turn 40 this year, their title window is closing fast. After firing Darvin Ham and hiring JJ Redick, a once again controversial hire, the Lakers are hoping his incredible basketball knowledge can translate to coaching. Also, with new draft picks Dalton Knecht and Bronny James, LeBron's son, the Lakers are looking for young assets that could potentially help them compete now. But as of today, the Lakers are not living up to the great history of their franchise and haven't done so under Jeanie Buss. If the Lakers want to return to their dominance, it's going to need to start from the top, and Jeanie and the Lakers organization have a lot of self-reflecting to do. I thank you all for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take it easy.